Hey everybody, and welcome to part 3 of the Leafy Lake park playthrough. Now in the second episode, we basically just expanded the park out into the kind of back section behind the lake. We added quite a few rides. We added I guess the big wooden coaster, a river rapids, a haunted house, and another steel mini coaster, but in the form of it used the spinning coaster cars. And it was a reverse inclined shuttle coaster as well. We achieved the guest count pretty early on, so it was basically time to just chill out and fill up the rest of the map, basically. Thanks very much to everyone with their name suggestion for the Woody. I ended up going with Sasquatch, which was suggested by multiple people in the end, so it definitely felt like the right choice there. I started off this part of the playthrough with a little bit of maintenance, just zoning staff and adjusting ride prices everywhere around the park. Then added a spiral slide just at the kind of top of the hill there, and I think the little bit of brick wall texture turned out pretty nicely under the base of that, in amongst a few bits of shrubs and small trees as well. Then eventually unlocked the mini suspended single rail coaster, which I was pretty happy with because I really wanted to do kind of not a recreation, but a coaster that was inspired by Batflyer at Lightwater Valley. I'm pretty sure in the scenario Katie's World there is a bit of a recreation of that ride as well. It is pretty hard to do a recreation unless you've got OpenRCT2 because the real coaster didn't actually have a lift hill, I guess. It had literally a lift. So basically, you'd start off kind of at the highest point of the ride. You'd swing down a few kind of gentle helixes. It wasn't a very long ride, but yeah, you'd get into the last part, and you'd basically the little kind of cart, I guess, would be lifted up by an elevator back to the station platform. So it's kind of interesting. I'd never seen a video of that coaster until I looked it up the other day. But sadly, I don't think it's in operation anymore. I then kind of jumped over right to the very back of the back lot of the park here, and I built a kind of, I guess it's an aerodynamic style mine train, not so much in terms of the track style, because that's kind of more reminiscent of the corkscrew style track, but more so the layout itself. So these coasters weren't typically very tall at all, and they usually had, between 2 and even 3, I think I've seen lift hills on the layout. So generally pretty slow, but very good kind of family style rides. So yeah, this one's got 2 lift hills. It's not very tall, but I do like how compact it is, and I think I was able to get a pretty decent amount of track in there into a pretty small space. It's definitely not the most exciting ride to watch. It is very slow in some places, but it does gain quite a bit of speed in the little underground section before it pops out just before the station platform again. Overall pretty slow coaster, and it's I don't think the ratings are very good. I think it's probably because there's a stat penalty of some kind. But anyway, I still had a bit of fun building it out, and just did a kind of some basic decorating, gave it a bit of a forest theme. Unfortunately, I didn't unlock the mining scenery, which probably would have been perfect for this ride, but oh well, just some basic trees and shrubs were adequate. I then finally got around to decorating the kind of empty bits of space in and around the wooden coaster. Just put a nice little mix of trees and shrubs, mixed up ground surface textures, and just tried to basically fill up most of the little pockets of space so there wasn't any kind of awkward areas just sitting by themselves. Someone did actually suggest to me that I try a intertwined water slide with the wooden coaster, as I did mention that it was the wooden coaster was inspired by the legend at Holiday World. And if you watch a point of view video of that on YouTube, you'll notice that there's 2 or even 3 pretty big water slides just kind of quite close to the track in some areas. There's a few head chopper moments, which is always fun. I did actually have a few attempts at building a water slide in there off camera, but nothing was really happening for me, and it's I think by that time I'd just kind of run out of space in the park, and I felt like I would have needed to put in like a bit of a wave pool, or some common landing area for some of the water slides. So yeah, just didn't quite happen. But maybe I can save that for another park down the line. I then kind of had one little medium-sized area to fill out, and I went for a go-kart track. And I basically tried to theme it in such a way that it looked like the little ride icon in the in-game menu. So it was basically just, so I don't know if you remember it too closely, but it's basically like a sort of an elevated straightaway, and it's got a 180 turn, then a 90-degree turn that then ducks under that straightaway. Yeah, it's just one of the many adorable little ride icons in the game. Also had quite a few of those kind of narrow, small, little hedge-looking trees as well, which I don't know, just very nostalgic look for me, and I really enjoyed trying to recreate that little icon, I suppose. I then went back to the main area of the lake and added in a small island, kind of just in the center, just because it was feeling a little bit empty. As most of you know, I don't generally enjoy putting a bunch of rides on water. I don't mind having like a coaster that has a turnaround, or even the swinging ship on the side there, but I generally stay away from spamming the water with rides. So I felt like so if we put something kind of natural looking in the center, then that would look okay. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. Might not be everyone's cup of tea. Some people might just prefer the plain lake, but yeah, that's what I went for, and I think it turned out okay. I then added in a little freefall into the nested turnaround of the Woody, and I think it fit in pretty nicely. I actually ended up using a name suggestion from Skillet Dude 07, which was Shasta, or Shasta, not exactly sure how you say it, but yeah, that name suggestion really struck a chord with me actually, because I was actually lucky enough to drive pretty close to Mount Shasta quite a few years ago, and yeah, it's probably one of the most beautiful, most picturesque mountains I've ever seen. So yeah, I definitely felt like I wanted to use that suggestion when I saw it. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Just added a little bit of a different color to the top of the freefall there, just to kind of emulate this snowy mountaintop, if you like. I don't know, it doesn't look that great, but I felt like it needed a different color just because of the name. So yeah, that's just about the end of the playthrough. Made the objective pretty comfortably in the end, which is not super surprising because these early scenarios aren't the most difficult. Ended up with a negative company value just because of the horrendously large loan I took out, but that's all good. Fortunately, it's not a criteria of you passing the scenario. I will make a download of the park available on RCT Go as soon as I can, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below. The next park playthrough, it might be jumping back over to the Corkscrew Follies or Added Attractions scenario pack list, so I think it's Future World or Gentle Glen next, I can't quite remember. Might jump over to that, but nostalgia might get the better of me, so I might end up going straight into Diamond Heights next. Anyway, I think that's just about all we've got time for. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll finish off the video just by kind of following each of the coasters around. By the way, let me know if you do enjoy watching the coasters go at the end of the scenario. If no one's really that interested in it, I might just stop doing that. But if you are interested, just maybe drop me a comment if you can. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video. Cheers, bye.